Merry Christmas. I'm glad we work for a system that we can say Merry Christmas.
Amen.
So it's, we even got our law degree on that we can say Merry Christmas. So, Dr. Foster, somebody walked in the door the other day and said, Happy Holidays, and Dr. Foster said, no, we go Merry Christmas around here. Good, but I appreciate everybody being here today. And so we'll start this meeting, and I'm going to ask Dr. Crenshaw to pray for us and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, we come and giving thanks, Lord, for allowing us to see another day. We ask a special blessing over the students, the parents, the administrators, all the staff in the County Public School System. We ask that you bless all the students in the state and this nation. Now, Lord, we ask that you bless the first responders, those men and women who keep us from all hurt, harm, and danger. We ask now, Lord, that you put a special covering over our students as they get ready for their Christmas break. These things we ask in your daughter in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, go ahead and get started here. Do I hear a motion for approval of the minutes?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion for adoption of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Announcements. Dr. Crenshaw?
Nothing. Well, we want to congratulate Viga High School and their efforts at the state tournament. They were the runner-ups in that tournament. We had asked for them to be present this morning, but I don't see them, so we'll make another effort to get them here. But again, had great fan participation, and the kids, young men, really played hard. It just came up one point short, but we look forward to a great season on next year.
Mr. Stringfellow?
Yes, I'd like to thank, I found out, I was talking at the board work session about the beautiful arrangements and stuff, and Ms. Walton and the middle school principals, or middle schools that participated, I really want to say what a wonderful job they did in making it look Christmassy, and want to know if I can hire you next year to come to my house and do the same thing. But thank you and your principals for that.
Dr. Foster? Any announcements?
Yeah, I have two, actually, that are near and dear to my heart, as a matter of fact. One, Baker beating McGill on Monday night in boys basketball. And on Friday night last week, they also beat MGM, freshman, JV, and varsity. I went to that particular game, and it was really a good game. It really was.
Hang in there, buddy.
So any other announcements, Dr.?
No, I'm good.
So, hey, but on that note, there comes the Viger football team, so we'll give them a couple minutes to get here. But Dr. Foster worked out in Sims for a long time, so I don't know why he wants to say stuff like that, because most of those, whatever, the joy of his career was there. All right.
I have no announcement this time.
Okay, and I do not either, so I'm assuming these will be for the recognition. Dr.
They
Crenshaw?
are, they are.
Okay, so at this time, we'll go ahead and do the reports and recognition.
I can do one while we wait for them to come in.
Okay.
Okay. Can I call forward Mr. Stringfellow, Fondy Principal Joy Gould, and Johnny Atz? Fondy Elementary was recognized recently as a STEM demonstration school for grades K through 5 for meeting STEM standards of distinction and excellence. Those standards include that the school utilizes the engineering design process, teaches coding skills, promotes robotics, introduces electronics through tinkering and other activities, uses 3D design and printing, creates video games, designs and builds structures, explores video and green screen production, integrates digital tools across the curriculum, engages with the community, and provides after-school and off-campus STEM opportunities. Congratulations.
Well, I'd like to say congratulations to Ms. Gould and her staff, and everybody that's involved in it. Adams here. I've been by the school a couple of times. Good things are happening in Farming Elementary. Outside the fact that they're a year-round school and things seem to be progressing pretty well. But I was invited to come by and take a look at the STEM classes they have. We have never seen, or maybe you have, seen some of the great work that a lot of young people, I was out there the other day, and I guess it was a first grade class. And, I mean, it looked like organized chaos all over the floor. The kids were being challenged to think and to figure out things using math and science with all of the nitpicks and all the other stuff. And I was thinking that this is something that I'd like to see every school in Mobile County have, and also our middle schools as they feed into high schools, because that's going to be the future for our students to be able to work through those kind of skills and stuff. So I have a certificate here signed by the superintendent and all the board members to recognize Fondy Elementary School as a STEM demonstration school. And if you get an opportunity, go by there and see what they're doing, because they're doing some wonderful work. I want to give, first of all, Mr. Adams a chance to speak about it, because I know you're particularly involved.
Well, I'm excited to be here. It all starts at the top of the school, the leadership, and creating a STEM school. And this is all comes out of workforce development. 10, 15 years ago, advanced industry that we have here today requires STEM skills of the workforce. And this is, we're hoping this inspires students to be able to stay here in Mobile and take those STEM jobs. I talk to HR people all the time in the county, and they're out of Mobile people with STEM skills. So we feel like this is vital, and Fondy Elementary has embraced it, and they have a great school, great staff, and they have great students. I'm there all the time, and it's a joy to go in the schools. You can go by and see their demonstration schools, so they're ready for you. And the standards they've met, they're national and international standards that would meet with anybody in the country or internationally. So,
Well, Ms. Gould, here's your certificate, and here's your opportunity to talk about your school.
Thank you, everyone. I will invite you all to come anytime. I promise you there's STEM activities going on anytime you walk through the door. But all of this could not have been done without the support of MAYA. That has been invaluable to us. That partnership has, it goes beyond just Mr. Adams. We have a teacher who comes and helps us every month with our STEM activities. She's there right now. We're off on Christmas break, but we have intercession. And that support has been invaluable. And of course, Mr. Stringfellow is 100% behind us, and Dr. Hinton has been out several times to see it. So it's not just me. If I didn't have the right people in place, it would have never happened. The best part about it is my person who was over all the STEM activities I actually stole from Mr. Adams when he left Burns. So he is dear to his heart for more than one reason. So thank you, and please stop by Fondy Elementary anytime.
Let me get a picture. All right, thank you.
That's vital, Renee.
All right. And here we have the Viger Wolves. Come on in. Dr. Crenshaw, will you come forward? And I see we have Principal Gerald Cunningham and Coach Derek Scott and members of the Viger High School Wolves. It was dubbed the Year of the Wolf, and as local sports fans watched Viger win the Battle of Pritchard against Blount High School to kick off the 2018 season, we all realized it was going to be a great year to be a Wolf. Viger was ranked in the top 5 all year and spent several weeks at number 1. And then Viger, which had won 3 straight Class 5A Region 1 titles, played in the state championship game for the first time since 2008. Viger was the only Mobile County Public School to make it that far, and we are so very proud of you.
Let me just say how proud I am of these young men. They are student athletes. We have their head coach, Coach Scott, and our principal, Mr. Cunningham, and all these players here. Mr. Threadgill and I and other members of the staff was there in that freezing weather. Hard to recognize Mr. Threadgill. He had on so many clothes. I didn't know who he was. But it was an outstanding game, and I want you guys to know that it was a great effort. We lost by 1 point. But the effort that you all had throughout the whole game was tremendous. I would say, Mr. Cunningham, about, 5,000 fans from Viger and Mobile areas. It was packed. It really was. It had about 12 or 13 buses there. A lot of people drove up and whatnot. So that just goes to show you what the community think of you all's efforts. Very entertaining game. I did a lot of coaching from the stands. Y'all didn't hear me, but I was doing some coaching. But it was a great game. It was a great game, and I think it was a great season for you guys, and that defense was tremendous through the whole year. I think you gave up less than 10 points or 8 points the whole season on an average or whatever. 6.6. Coach just happened to know what that was. Yeah, 6.6. And we just want to applaud you guys for your efforts. And we have a certificate. I'm asking the principal and the coach if they would come up. And this certificate reads the Mobile County Public School Certificate of Recognition Award to Viger High School, Alabama High School Athletic Association 5A Football Championship, signed by Mr. Crenshaw, Threadgill, and the other members of the board. Again, congratulations, and we will have certificates coming to all the players at a later date. So we want Mr. Cunningham to say something, then our coach, and maybe one of his players if he like.
Good morning. First of all, I want to say thank you all for the support that you have given us. We couldn't have done this without you all. It's just wonderful to have being a part of the largest school system in the district and have that greater support. So once again, thank you all for your efforts. Thank you all for your support. Continue to support us, and we're going to do our best to continue to represent the Mobile County Public School System in a great fashion.
My name is Derek Scott, head football coach, and from the staff at Viger High School, we want to say thank you for the support. Thank you for all you do for us on a daily basis. We try to go out and represent you guys in a class way, and hopefully we're doing that for you guys. So thank you once again, and we appreciate all your efforts. Nobody didn't want to come up.
Let me just say it was an unprecedented situation when Mr. Cunningham called me about some support for the team, and I called Mr. Threadgill. I said, we need to do something to support them. Mr. Threadgill said, I'm so mad. I'm just so mad that he didn't call me because they're going up there representing the Mobile County public school system. And the first time in the history of the school system, such a monetary support was made. And I agree with Mr. Threadgill. When we send in our team off to represent the system, we should make sure they go off in first class, along with Representative Napoleon Bracey, stepped up and also helped. So they were very comfortable, and we want to make sure that they do that in the past. We also, I talked to Mr. Cunningham about negotiating with Pritchard Stadium for the possibility of the school system purchasing that for the Viger High School, and it's just in the discussion stages, so they can have a home field and also a field house. So we want to make sure that our schools are represented and that they have represented facilities so these teams can get the recognition they needed. Just another caveat that at Viger High School, they have what's Brazil, the Hall of Fame. And I understand that Willie Anderson is being considered for the Hall of Fame. And that's very unusual to have a high school with two Hall of Famers, possibly two. Hall of Famers getting ready. So it speaks well for the school. A number of D1 players have come out of there, and a number of them in the pros there. So again, congratulations on all your efforts, and keep up the good work.
Hey,
Yes.
Coach, before you leave, I talked to Dr. Crenshaw after the game, and, you know, there's always some other players involved in the game. And so I think today we're going to approve something about, we have a $2 fee for officials, and we get to participate in that. That's sponsored by Dr. Crenshaw, so we're going to, we have those issues again, we'll make sure we don't see any fees.
It's a basketball fee, not football. It's basketball.
Coach Scott, how many of these guys right here are seniors?
All of these are seniors.
And how many of them are being recruited?
Right now, we have 10 that have been offered a scholarship at this time.
Wow.
Great.
So we
That's-
still gotta go through the recruiting phase.
Please stay for a picture right there.
I know it. Do you see his arms?
And then meanwhile, I'll call forward Mr. Battles, LaFleur Principal William Henderson, Gwen Council, and other members of the executive staff of the, or executive council of the Tolmanville LaFleur Alumni Association. Again, it's Mr. Battles, LaFleur Principal William Henderson, Gwen Council, and other representatives of the Tolmanville LaFleur Alumni Association. Today, we would like to recognize and thank the Tolmanville LaFleur Alumni Association for donating $51,000 to LaFleur High School. Your support of your alma mater is immeasurable with this donation and through your decades of dedication. Thank you for all that you do for the current students at LaFleur and for our entire community.
We'd like to say good morning to everybody, but more importantly to the LaFleur High School alumni who are taking great value because of that contribution, along with the principal, Mr. William Henderson here. It's in the spirit of Christmas that we come today. The gift that you're giving today will go a long way in trying to further the education opportunity for students who attend LaFleur High School. But more importantly, though, you set the stage for other alumni associations. You are the premier person who set the stage for other of my schools and the schools in the other districts to make contributions in support of their school. I had a personal relationship with Johnny L. LaFleur. He represented me when I got fired at Scott Paper Company. But anyway, he was always quite a gentleman. I know that he would be proud today. So on behalf of the Board of School Commissioners, with our superintendent, Mr. Threadgill, who's an alumni of John L. LaFleur High School, I just want to congratulate each of you on this contribution, and to Mr. Henderson, who's the leader at John L. LaFleur High School. I would like at this time for Mr. Henderson to come and say a few words, then Ms. Green Council on behalf of the Alumni Association. Oh, let me just give you this first, I guess. Mr. Henderson, the Mobile County Board of School Commissioners just present to you the certificate of recognition awarded to the Tolmanville LaFleur High School Alumni Association donation to John L. LaFleur High School, hoping that will further the education and opportunity for our students at John L. LaFleur. And thank you for your leadership.
Yes, sir. The only thing, good morning, first of all. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and student body at LaFleur High School, as well as Superintendent Threadgill and the school board, which Mr. Bowers has already spoken on behalf, I want to say thank you. I have so much gratitude and appreciation for you all's always commitment and dedication to give back to your alumni, to give back to the school and to give back to our current students, to make sure that they're afforded the equitable opportunities of a quality education, and that your contributions always go towards those efforts. In the past, we've done things for students. We tried to make sure we purchased resources to ensure that we got off the failing list. Last year, we did other things. We're also looking forward this year to utilizing this money to, first of all, we want to make sure our students have those basic needs. So we also are looking to fund a uniform closet for those students who may not be as privileged as others, to make sure that they have warm coats and things of that nature for the entire school year, and other supplies and resources for teachers to make sure that they can reach their students. So again, the effort that you all put forth, I know people see that figure. There's a lot of work and dedication that goes into that, and for that work and that effort, I applaud your efforts, and I, again, thank you, and I'm so humbled that you all entrust in me and value my values and the vision I have for the school to help facilitate those things to take place. And again, thank you.
Good morning to everyone. But first of all, my alumni members, we always say to God be the glory, because he is the one that has brought us thus far. And with me today, part of my alumni board members is Vice President Mr. Larry Durant, Parliamentary Mr. Robert Wright on the end, our recording secretary and parade planner, Mr. Jason Walker, our correspondence secretary and pageant and scholarship is Ms. Brenda Mixon Gay. And last but not least is Ms. Marcia Moore, our event planner. Without them, there wouldn't be no us. Because in this association, we believe in no big I's and little U. Everybody matters at John L. LaFleur School. Our theme has been the past, the present, and the future. I am one of the past. I am one of the first graduated students of Toulminville High School class of 1968. When I found my way back here, it was so much in order to do, so there was some planning. So all of us got together because some of us must do this for our schools. Our young people is our future of today. John L. LaFleur had some homeless students, and we want to make sure that they get taken care of. The schooling, and I appreciate Mr. Henderson so much for letting us do this in order to be recognized. Also, we can be recognized, but the work must be done and must be carried on by somebody's, which we do not mind carrying the torch for LaFleur High School. And in the near future, we pray that when someone else takes this torch, they will carry this on. And we are so grateful to be here today. Our words cannot express it. But after we leave from in front of the cameras and leave all of you, we still have some more work to do. And the work will continue to go on after we leave from this place today. And we thank you for having us here. We appreciate this, but the work must continue to be carried on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. At this time, we're going to do citizens' requests. Just remind those that will be speaking before the board that not to use profanity, talk about one's character, reputation, just keep it clean. At this time, our superintendent will introduce each person that wants to speak. This will be your last meeting, you get 5 minutes. The next meeting, you only get 3. This meeting, you get 5. So Mr. Threadgill he has a time, and he'll be showing you that time. And if you get past there, I'll ask you to stop. And so, like I said, you get your 5 minutes. So we're ready. So go ahead.
Okay, the first person up to speak, and as Mr. Harwell said, that we have 5 minutes to speak. I will have a sign holding up 1 minute left. Normally, you don't pay me any attention when I hold the sign up, but I will try to extend my arm so you could see it. And then if we go beyond that, I will unplug the microphone on you. But the first person coming to speak is Annie L. Williams.
Good morning. Recognizing Mr. Threadgill, the superintendent, and the commissioners of the school board. My name is Annie Williams, and I'm standing here representing some of the alumni of Blount High School. I'm here regarding, we're not sure, and that's why we came to the school board, of the selling of the old Blount High property or the proposed selling. We received words last Tuesday that the property was sold and an amount was given for the property, and the city held a meeting regarding the rezoning of the school property over there on 838 West Main Street. We are very concerned about that because we didn't know the procedure that you use for selling property. Is it open to the public for sale, or is it something that's done inside with the public, not knowing anything about it? The young lady, Ms. Hudson, came over and she was representing another young man, Mr. Small, who she said is the investor, and she was the entrepreneur who had visions of putting something on the properties. She stated that they have not purchased it, but it will be due to, if the rezoning is done, then they will purchase the property. But we wasn't sure because we heard that the property was already purchased, and that's why I'm here to get some clarification. We have contacted the president of the alumni, and she could not give us any clear-cut information on it. So that's why we came down to get some information on it, because a lot of the alumni out of town, they have contacted us, and in town, if it's not so, we would be very much interested in that property. We were unable to keep our school there after a fight to keep it there. They moved it up in 8 Mile, but the grounds are very precious to us, and if it is for sale and it hadn't been sold, we would like to have the opportunity to have that property. And that's why I'm here.
Okay. If you don't mind, if you could stay after the meeting, I would be happy to share with you that information.
Thank you, Mr. Threadgill.
You're welcome. You did that in 2 minutes and 36 seconds. You did good. All right.
Gotta beat that 3 minutes.
All right, the next person is Don Mitchell.
Good morning to everyone. Mr. Threadgill, I can't promise you that you won't throw the green card at me. Okay. I'm Dr. Don Mitchell, and I'm the founder and executive director of the nonprofit Voices Organized in Creating Equality. I'm here this morning along with other employees who are drivers in the Mobile County Public School System to discuss an issue that seemingly should be on the agenda today, associated with the repositioning of staff members in the Transportation Department and the potential effect that this decision could have on the safety and well-being of the students serviced by this department. But first, I would like to address the validity of repositioning of the employees. I have before me an example of a letter that was sent to some of the employees affecting the repositioning plan. And that letter reads in part and attaches itself to the work assignment that's going to be changed, your work location that's going to be changed, and that the change is being made to improve the operational efficiency of the department. It will not affect your compensation. This was signed by an individual from the Human Resources and also CC to other members of the administrative staff, Mobile County Public School System. Now, this letter identifies this reasoning as work reassignments. However, there are several questions that should be given consideration as it pertains to the content of this letter. First, the letter identifies that the action is categorized as a reassignment. Secondly, the letter gives a reason, and thirdly, the letter gives advance notice. If this is a reassignment based on the information provided by the Alabama Association of School Boards guidelines for implementing the Students First Act of 2016, it's not necessary to give a reason or advance notice in order for this action to take place. It must only be approved by the board. The guidelines were instead followed is the one required for the transfer of a non-probationary classified employee. Now, whether or not if this was done in haste, oversight, or true intent, the fact still remains that it is proper to maintain the status quo chosen under the non-probationary classified transfer guidelines. In this stance, Alabama Code 1624C-7D now comes into play, which states that the superintendent is the one who issued the notice of recommendation to transfer to the employee to any position in the system, and the method for issuing written notice are as follows: certified mail, private email carrier for next business day delivery, hand delivery to the employee, or hand delivery to the employee's last known address. As you have been informed based on the content of the letter that was read, no deference was given to the office of the superintendent. No consideration of this action should take place based on the ambiguity of the protocol followed. Ambiguity is defined by the Cambridge English Dictionary as a situational statement that is unclear because it can be understood in more than one way. This ambiguity is connected to the following guidelines for reassignments of non-probationary employees versus transfers of non-probationary classified employees, and a lack of clarification of what is meant by the verbiage improving operational efficiency. So is it legally acceptable to use a combination of picking and choosing two separate entities of the law to combine and create a new set of standards to be followed and ensuring that a mandate be accepted and followed? Additionally, are we to infer that operational efficiency means that there is incompetence and unsatisfactory job performances by the people who are already in place, and there is a need to transfer others to those posts to do a better job? Or are we to infer that the ones who are now being transferred are the ones who need to be replaced by the ones who are already positioned at the other sites? Since this situation is being handled in a way that creates more questions and speculations than answers, I respectfully request that this matter be tabled and allow the operation with the Transportation Department to continue as it currently stands. If there's a desire to move forward with this matter with a vote today, I ask that you give further consideration to the almost 200 signatures that I have here signifying their concerns as to the true reasons for transferring these few selected employees. There are certainly a greater number of drivers who show support regarding this matter, but they have chosen not to allow themselves to be identified out of the fear of being retaliated against. This also applies to the reason why we don't have more drivers present at this meeting this morning. Others are here to present their concerns as to how the decisions to approve these transfers will create a heightened potentially regarding the safety and well-being of the students, parents, school administrators, and communities they serve. Thank you for allowing me to speak before you this morning.
You did good, Coach. The next person is Charles Hipshire. Did I pronounce that correctly? Hipshire, I'm sorry.
Use the microphone.
Go behind the podium, sir. Yes, sir. There you go. Sorry.
Excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Charles Hipshire. I'm a bus driver for Mobile County Public School System. The reason that I'd like to state is for the, on the purpose of the letter concerning the ability to make quick decisions and accurate decisions, and the experience that was caused, that would be caused by this move that has been put upon us. I'm sorry about my nervousness here. I'll use my own personal view as an example to what I'm trying to say here. In my bus route, Miss Stacy and Miss Holyfield and Mr. Cannon, they, with their work experiences and so forth that it took for them to have to get this thing done, you know, they have to work together and coordinate with one another to get it done. I'm very sorry, but
Take your time, yeah, all right.
can I start over for a second?
Absolutely.
As an example, I will use myself in this situational role. And that is my new route that I was assigned. In order to make this route work properly from the start, I found out that Mr. Cannon and Mrs. Holyfield, their work relationship and their experiences, they had to come up with a specific driver for this route. And it just so happened to be me. And because they know all the drivers and so forth, and it takes a great amount of time and to understand the complexity of this type of add-on route due to the nature of the connection to other routes. Routes that represent and present these type of situations if they're not done properly. Such things, if it's not done properly, the route can potentially lead to a student not being picked up. It can lead to a student, a loss of school time and interruptions of attendance, which could lead to truancy. But most importantly, it could lead to the safety of the child, of the students, walking to and from the schools in heavy traffic as well as in adverse conditions. Now, I, for one, would like to know why this sudden move was going to happen, is happening, you know, and how it's affecting all our drivers, all the drivers of Mobile County Public School System. And that's pretty much so what I'd like to find out and lead to. I'll yield
Okay,
my
thank you, sir. Next, we will have Sonia Zimmerman.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Sonia Zimmerman. I drive for Sims Metal, Mary G. Montgomery, and Allentown. I'm the lead band driver for MGM as well as the basketball bus driver. Go Vikings. Being competent and skillful in understanding all the required components of a zone and the routes they encompass is a necessity. My supervisor over Zone 2, Reginald Kelly, is highly knowledgeable of all the operations needed to serve the area, and due to the created relationships between Ms. Kelly and the drivers, a fluent operation has been created. To transfer Ms. Kelly would be potentially create a lack of continuity, and that could be detrimental to the quality of care and services we provide to the students. It can take up to 2 years to learn a zone, all its routes and its bus drivers. It has taken almost 2 years for the drivers to get used to Ms. Kelly and trust her judgment. She now knows the routes, the drivers, and can act quickly if a driver needs assistance, especially if they can't cover the route. She will not hesitate to get on a bus and run that route herself, if necessary. Ms. Kelly has a good relationship with administrators in the schools that we have and will contact them when a driver needs her assistance concerning a problem with a student or route. She will pull a video really quick when a driver has a problem on a bus, and she supports her drivers any way she can. We can call her and get a quick response when we have an issue, no matter what. The drivers are more confident with her and have a lot of respect for her. She is extremely professional. In the last 4 years, Zone 2 has had 3 supervisors. At one point, we only had a clerk to rely on. This caused a highly stressful and unstable work environment for all of us. Morale was at an all-time low. It had never been worse. We felt like everybody had turned their backs on us. Zone 2 now finally has the stability it needs to run strong and efficiently. For all the reasons I've given, we ask that you please not move Ms. Kelly, but allow her to stay in Zone 2. We also ask that she be moved back to the House Ferry site, where she can be closer to us. Thank you.
Ms. Zimmer, did you say Zone 2? Zone 2. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. All right, next we will have LaWanna Reed.
Good morning, I'm Luanna Reed. I'm sorry. Okay, the supervisor, Mrs. Kelly, assigned to our zone has acquired a thorough understanding of the entire operation, which has resulted in an effective, efficient, and balanced work environment. However, to reach the level of this efficiency has taken over 2 years, and that is declared by her own acknowledgement. Her understanding and giving consideration to all aspects of her decision-making has promoted an environment of getting things done for our students safely, as well as the safety and well-being of drivers under her supervision. As a result of this approach, it's further enhanced the relationship she's had with the administration, the school, and community, which includes the parents. She is aware of circumstances associated with students in their home and school environments, which makes for an ability to handle the unexpected situations which could have a deleterious effect on the well-being of a student. And also examples like mine was for stops, assigning stops. Holly and I used to just run parallel all the time, and Miss Kelly changed the routes to make it more efficient for Holly and her students, more than mine, but it helped her quite a bit. Well, mine's fine, but anyway. Thank you all for listening.
Okay, thank you. Next, now I'll see why Mr. Hartwell wanted me to read these names so I can mess them up. The next one is Holly Sutherland. Did I get that one right?
Sutherland. Yes.
Sutherland, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
I don't have a paper. I had 5 minutes, correct? Yes, ma'am. I just want to, good morning, everyone. My name is Holly Sutherland. I'm a bus driver for MGM and Sims Middle also. I've been driving for 7 years and have seen a lot. I just want to elaborate on what Dr. Mitchell has said about why. How are we not effective? The operational effectiveness. This move is for operational effectiveness. How are we not being effective? I believe every day we transport these children safely, that's effective, right? And I just believe that morale of bus drivers goes a long way with the safety of children. That when you bring morale of a department down, effectiveness goes out the window. Everybody, I believe, bus drivers, there is a whole lot more than that's on those papers. Those names on those papers are people, not just names. And they believe that their supervisors, and their clerks need to stay where they're at because they have developed relationships over the years. And like we said, Miss Kelly has been with us for 2 years. It's taken her 2 years to get to know who will run what and where. She knows she can call me and I'll pick up my phone anytime. And I will go run a route that a driver called in sick that minute. I will jump back in my bus and go run that route. I just want to know where the operational effectiveness is not being met. So, I still have more time?
Yes.
I mean, I think I speak for all the bus drivers in the fact that our supervisors, you know, and our clerks are happy with where we're at. I believe we're effective. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, last we have Angela Lowe.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to, first of all, my name is Angela Lowe, and I've been driving a school bus for a little over 20 years. I wanted to, if all the bus drivers that were willing to, that showed up today that wanted to raise their hand and show that they're here in solidarity, I invite you to do so. As I say, I've been driving a school bus for over 20 years. I work for Zone 3 and Zone 4, Carl Cannon, Stacy Holyfield, Jana, and Mr. Dwayne Tucker. I'm here because it has come to my attention there is a realignment in the works to reposition several supervisors and clerks to improve operational efficiency of the transportation department. Being mid-year, questions immediately come to my mind. How is it going to improve the operational efficiency of a department by disrupting already established lines of communication? Is it advantageous to reassign a supervisor and a clerk away from a community of students, parents, drivers, teachers, principals, and administrators where rapport and expectations are already well accustomed? Our clerks and supervisors are already familiar with the areas we drive. Operational efficiency is making an assessment and communicating a need in a split second because the assigned route supervisor and clerk for that territory know the drivers and their area. We have the great responsibility to transport students to and from school in the fastest and safest way possible. Our students must be our first consideration. Mid-year realignment will sow chaos and unneeded stress on drivers and school administrators, moving key people out of current assignments where they are already familiar and placing them into new, unfamiliar assignments with new learning curves at a point in the middle of the year runs the perilous risk that a child could be overlooked if a bus breaks down, a driver may be forgotten, a route not adequately staffed in the event of a bus accident or other emergency situation. Would you consider it an efficiency to remove current knowledge of an assigned territory with its road conditions and alternative routes? Would it be efficient to shift management and clerk assistants away from their familiarity with the assigned schools, parents, administrators, and principals? Is it efficient for a driver to call his or her newly assigned supervisor or clerk during an emergency and then have that supervisor call the previous assigned supervisor to find out who can cover a run or fill it? A couple of years ago at Federal High School, we had a bus driver in the lineup have a heart attack during bus lineup. One call to a supervisor took care of every bit of that. We have a new supervisor. That supervisor may not be able to make that split decision in a bus lineup at 2:25 to get everybody moving home. That's a prime example of where knowledge of routes and drivers and situations who can cover becomes imperative. Our supervisors and clerks have a familiarity with existing goals and challenges among the staff under their current direct management. Disrupting this sequence mid-year feeds gossip, low morale, and instability. My goal and the goal of the others here with me today is to ask the board to help us protect the children we transport safely every day by protecting the people whom we work that support our mission to make it happen. Thank you for your time and attention and allowing me to speak. I beat you to it.
Okay, real quick, can I get Sonia Zimmerman to please stand? If you will contact my secretary and see if you can get a meeting with me and those bus drivers that's representing those zones, and we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation about it. All right?
Mr. Strager,
Yes, sir.
I would like to have the results of the meeting that you had with the bus drivers so we too can make an assessment of what safety issues are involved with transporting the students and the placement of new supervisors.
We appreciate all y'all coming today and stating your concerns. Like I said, the superintendent will take a look at that, and then we'll see what his recommendation.
Y'all don't bring Don with you.
All right.
So at this time, we're going to move forward our action items, and Mr. Sturgill, if you'll go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Let me just say this. If y'all welcome to stay and listen to all the action items, or if you'd like to, either way you want to do, we'll give you a minute to. It shouldn't be very long anyway. All right. All right, we'll see y'all.
Sure cleaned out the room, didn't it?
Thank you, sir.
We're ready. Go ahead.
You ready? All right, action item G1 is the public participation. We have discussed this for several months. It's the revised policy that we will revise the public participation. I ask that you approve the revised public participation policy.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
As much as we've vetted these items in our work session, I'd like to offer a motion to approve items 1 through 20.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of items 1 through 20. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I apologize for not mentioning this earlier, but we have two new action items G20 and action item G21. The first one is G20, the lease agreement with South Alabama Utilities, the Dawes Track, McLeod Road. It's 70 acres of undeveloped land that the water waste treatment disposal facility will be put in for a contract of 50 years. The rent would be $12,950 per year with a $36,152.90, a one-time payment for timber.
Is that 20, Mr. Stegall?
We've already approved it.
Oh, we already approved that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My motion was 1 through 20.
220, yeah.
It's a new one, that's why I was bringing it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
he already.
Okay, action item G21 is to sell.
Mr. Sturgill, if you don't mind, so just to kind of make a comment about that number 20, just so the board would know and understand something. It's a relationship we have with South Alabama Utilities. They provided a lot of utilities for our schools, our new schools, especially out in Casadeva, and there's other different places that they've came alongside us, provide that water and sewer for our schools, and it's just a spirit of cooperation with them, and this is actually in Dr. Foster's area, but Mr. Cunningham, he called me and said he really appreciate us doing this, and it's a great relationship we have for them to help us provide services, so it's a very good thing. I appreciate the board voting on that.
Okay.
21.
Thank you. Action item G21, the sale of vacant Patillo Road lot. It's a 1 acre parcel, and that sale price is for $4,900. I ask that you approve action item G21 for the sale of that
Mr. Chairman,
vacant lot.
so move for approval of G21.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, action item G22 is certified resignations. I ask that you approve the certified resignations listed under separate cover.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as much as these items have been vetted in our previous work session, I offer a motion that we approve items 22 through 26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, on to consent agenda. Action item H1, National Board Certified Teacher Mentors, a refund for their getting their board certification, coming out of Title II funds, not to exceed $5,000. I ask that you approve action consent agenda item H1.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
move for approval consent agenda items H1 through 18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second approval items 1 through 18. Any further discussion? Mr. Sturgill, the only thing only discussion I have about this on the travel, did you take a look at the ones that were like 20 above going to the same place?
Yeah, we've already, we're already on top of it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Student expulsions.
Yes, sir. On to student expulsions. We have 12, I believe, student expulsions. I ask that you approve the student expulsions listed under separate cover.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
move for approval of student expulsions 1 through 12.
Second for comment, it's an interesting, looking down through those 1 through 12 suspension, the efforts of the office to get in touch with the parents and how letters came back and there was no response. That's real interesting that parents, for whatever reasons, are not responding to their kids being kicked out of school or put in there.
I concur with Dr. Crenshaw, because I've said this many times. It's amazing that we have so many student expulsions and parents or family members are not involved in it, so I agree wholeheartedly with what he had to say.
Call for a question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. J1 and 2 is just information items for the board. And the next is attorney-client privilege. Is there anything from our attorney?
I sent an email to the board on the 8th of December regarding 2 proposed suspension agreements.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
offer motion that we concur with the recommendation of the attorney on the 2 said matters.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Scheduling of any additional meetings.
No, sir, not at this time.
So we won't need to meet until after the first of the year,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Good. Well, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Thurgood, I want to be in that meeting with you, with the.
Which one?
With the alumni folk.
Okay.
Thank y'all for coming.
Merry Christmas, Bill Foster. Merry Christmas.